Angela, go ahead and take us into what's at the top of the fold that we may or may not believe should be.
Yeah, so right now there is a MAGA war going on. Folks on actually both sides of the aisle are conflicted about whether or not Jeffrey Epstein files should be released. And Donald Trump is also speaking pretty ambiguously about this. So let's play what Donald Trump is saying right now.
Your daughter-in-law said that there should be transparency in the Epstein case. Do you agree with her, sir?
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that. I would like to see that also. But I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important. And you want credible evidence for something like that. But she's handled it very well. And it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
Okay, so he's saying
Didn't
whatever.
he used to say he would direct? He was the chief law enforcement. He directs what the.
Well, and now you're asking Donald Trump to keep the truth going. So let's go back to what Pam Bondi said earlier this year about the Epstein files.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
Okay, so he directed her, but now it's completely up to her. And now it sounds like Attorney General Pam Bondi has changed her tune a little bit about what is going to be released. Let's roll that.
The president said today you would release credible files related to Mr. Epstein. Are you prepared to do that, and when would you?
Our memo speaks for itself, and we'll get back to you on anything else.
The DOJ memo said that it found no incriminating client list and no credible evidence of blackmail, and therefore no further disclosure.
I think what is interesting and important here is that there is this growing groundswell of folks who supported the president, including the FBI director, Kash Patel, his deputy, Dan Bongino. They think that these files should be released. Of course, the FBI reports to the AG at the Department of Justice. And they are very divided in what they think should happen. I think that this is a massive distraction from what really matters, which is ensuring that our folks' Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, all of those things are still covered. Jeffrey Epstein, Lord have mercy, I didn't call this man. I'm sorry, Julian, you good people. Jeffrey Epstein. He's just not right. And I think that this is one of those things where, there's nothing that we can do now. This man isn't here. There are a lot of people who are victims, alleged victims, et cetera. I don't know how this is going to pay and cover people's most basic needs. But they are divided, and people have suggested that this is a good place for us to show that he's the liar that he is. But I feel like we've been saying this since 2016, since 2015.
I think that's the key. Like, this is the thing that y'all want to be mad at Donald Trump over. It's such horseshit. I mean, we should just be honest. The only reason the quote-unquote Epstein files ever became a thing is because they dangled it as red meat before their unintellectual base, because the subtext was the Clintons were attached to it. The Clintons were involved. So the same half-witted conspiracy theorist-believing idiots who supported Pizzagate are now not only driving what our government focuses on, but they're also driving the narrative in the media. I looked at all this week. There's been breaking news, a breaking news banner all week, all last week, will likely be all next week, because this tiny niche group of people is so focused on the Epstein files. Dan Bongino throwing a whole ass temper tantrum, not wanting to show up to his job at the FBI because he is mad about the Epstein files. And we're talking about this like it's normal. Not the fact that Dan Bongino, or Bongino, however you say his name, Bongino, not the fact that he is a conspiracy theorist himself and he's the deputy director of the FBI. Not the fact that he's an election denier and he's the deputy director of the FBI. Not the fact that he has talked religiously saying that there is no systemic racism in policing and police departments. But this niche group of people get to focus on, but Dan Bongino doesn't want to go to work anymore because he's mad. Like, who gives a shit? I don't understand why this is even a subject. Secondly, here's the hypocrisy. if we're so concerned about sexual abuse, let me just tell you guys about Southwest Key programs. They were the largest shelter of migrants across this country. They had multiple shelters throughout the country. There were multiple accusations of sexual abuse of minors that took place at this quote unquote nonprofit, which was not really a nonprofit. In March, the Trump administration completely shut down a Biden-era lawsuit that would have sought to hold this conglomerate of shelters responsible for what they did. If we're so concerned about sexual abuse, where the entire is the breaking news banner for that? There is none, because who cares about migrant children? That's not the issue. That's not the sexy thing. This shelter, they got billions in federal contracts for this abuse that allegedly took place during Trump's family separation policies in 2017 to 2018. They capitalized off migrant children. So this country allowed migrant children to become a billion-dollar industry. They allowed children to become a part of a business. So miss me with the idea that these people care about the well-being of children. Furthermore, if we're so concerned about sexual abuse, there were multiple reports in 2016 of Donald Trump going into beauty pageants where girls as young as 15 years old were getting dressed, and they were obligated to greet him and meet him, and him making completely inappropriate remarks and inappropriate gestures talking about these girls. If we're so concerned about sexual abuse, then let's focus on that. But that is not the real concern. Their concern, as Dan Bongino has said, is to own the libs. I don't even know what that means, but it's some stupid asinine bullshit that these right-wing extremists say. I don't even get the point of it. So I'm frustrated. I don't even care about his base. They don't frustrate me anymore. What I'm frustrated with is the way the media is being led by the nose by this tiny group of people, and they talk about it as though it is normal. I'm not saying the Epstein case is not important. Let the DOJ pursue it. I'm saying there is no way, given what's happening in Gaza right now, speaking if we're so concerned about children, the well-being of children, the tens of thousands of kids who are dying there, considering what's happening in Sudan right now and the children who are dying there, considering what's happening in Kenya right now, there are a lot of stories that we should be focused on. This is not one of them. And quite frankly, Congressman Hank Johnson, did this whole video of him playing the guitar, and I'm talking about the Epstein case, and I just thought how insulting that has to feel to constituents who are not focused on Epstein. And it just feels like a moment that we are missing the moment. You're even on the Democratic side, you're letting them lead you around the nose for these social media stunts, and that ain't it. That is not the thing that's going to help people out. To Angela's point about the big badass bill, is that what you call it? The big badass bill? Like that deserves more attention. If we're so concerned about kids, let's talk about the children who will literally die because of this bill. The children who will be kicked off, who won't have caregivers, who won't have health insurance. So it's bullshit to me, Andrew. Sorry I went on a tangent there, but that's how I feel.
Tell us how you really feel. I mean, I felt you and Angela both there, and I don't disagree, but I will say, as it relates to the political moment, is what is making this really outsized, obviously, over the coverage, which I think is overblown. But I think one of the things that's driving its nature is that there have been very few things. In fact, I can't think of one where Donald Trump's base has openly criticized, parted with him, and are even damn near trying to hold the attorney general accountable by saying she ought to be removed from office or resign over this Epstein thing. And so the question, I think, is becoming, does this create a wedge issue between Donald Trump and his really critical base, important for not just his election, but probably going to be critical to the midterms as well? Does it create an opening?
Native Land Pod is a production of iHeartRadio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.